So today we're going to be taking out the carburetor out of a 400 Kodiak, a Yamaha 400 Kodiak, and we're going to start by removing the seat, taking the panels off the sides, removing our shut-off valve for our fuel, and then we're going to take the tank off, and we're going to start removing the carburetor right after that. Seat comes off back here, the lever, take that off, we put it aside, and next we start taking off the panels. They got little rubber stoppers holding them on. Just give them a little pull and they usually come off quite easily. Put those aside. That one. And now we have our sides off. And we can see right here our fuel shut off. There's a screw inside there. You have to put a screwdriver in to remove this. We pull that off. And we put the screw back in. And we're going to put that aside so we don't lose it. And also, I like using a dish or something to put parts in. Also, it's important that, especially if you haven't done a lot of this sort of thing, that you get a good manual like this one. Okay, the next thing that has to happen is the cover for the tank has to come off. The cover for the tank has two cap screws, one on either side, holding it on, and there's two Allen head screws here and here on the front. Hang on all your screws, put them someplace safe where you'll know where to find them when you start putting it back together again. So now I have my 4mm Allen wrench, and I'm about to put it on these Allen head screws on the front. Remove those. Now we're ready to lift the cover off of the gas tank. Our gas tank itself has to come off. We've got two bolts on the back. There's two on the front. And then we have to go underneath and we have to remove the gas line coming down to the carburetor. That'll be the next. Now be careful when you take out the front hold down bolts. If you look closely, you'll see that there is a spacer that goes inside that holds the hold down bolt in the right place on the front of the gas tank. It's very important that you don't leave that behind because you could lose it later on and then you won't find it. Now that we have our hold down bolts out of our gas tank, front and back, we're going to start lifting it up a little bit, and there'll be fuel lines that are holding it in place. You can see now that we have the gas tank up, it's the fuel line that's holding it on right here. When we take that off, there's going to be a little bit of gas that comes out. Okay, our fuel tank has been removed, and we're going to go put it aside. If you notice, there's this rubber mat that sits underneath the gas tank. Lift it up and roll it out of the way, so tuck it out of the way so it's not in the way of anything as we remove the rest of the carburetor. Okay, so now we got the gas tank off. You can see the top of the carburetor, and you can see the throttle cable right here. And the throttle cable has a cover right here with three set screws, or three screws. They have to come out in order to pull the throttle cable out. There's also a gasket in behind here. You have to be careful you don't lose that or damage it or drop it. And then over on this side right here is your choke. And the choke has a plastic nut right here that you could probably, I usually give just a good twist with your fingers and it comes loose. And you can usually take it out quite easily and it'll come out on a spring, and that's what it looks like, and it comes out that hole right here. Okay, we're going to remove the cover, and you can see the O-ring, the sealing O-ring right here. You have to get that out, and we want to put that aside. And now this is where the cable is attached on this pin right here. We have to remove that in the cable, and the cable comes out through here, and that'll be an 8mm wrench that loosens this off. And there's a lock nut here that holds it in place so it doesn't come loose on you. This is the cable end that holds the cable in place on the throttle. There's our cable end. It just came out of our throttle. And again, we're just going to put that aside. Now this is out. The next thing that has to happen is these two Allen screws have to come out. They're the ones holding the front of the carburetor in place. And then we're going to loosen this off here. That's an 8mm, 6mm wrench. Allen wrench that removes these Allen head screws. Now we've got our carburetor disconnected at this end. This is loose. We're going to pull the carburetor up, tip it up and out. And there's our O-ring right here, our sealing O-ring. We have to be careful we don't lose it or pinch it. Okay, so now we're lifting out our carburetor and we're bringing it over to the table. I usually like to have a bowl or something to catch all the gas in that you can. And we're just going to wipe our hands off. Once again, we have our Phillips screwdriver. The Phillips screwdriver, we got 4 screws we have to take out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that'll take off your float chamber. That's the first thing you should take out and have a look. We've taken out our 4 screws, and now we have to lift the float bowl off. You'll see that there is some kind of gunk and goo in there, and now we need to clean up our carburetor. It's that black stuff on the bottom. That's usually buildup or stuff that's accumulated from the gasoline, needs to come out. Now that we have our, it's called a float chamber, now that that's been removed, you can see the actual float. And you need to remove this screw here to take the float out, and you have to be careful because there's a small plug in behind the float here that comes out with the float. And here are your jets. Here, here, here. And if you'll see here, they flipped the carburetor over. That's the bottom. And here are all the jets. They're named all here, your pilot jet, your pilot screw jet, main jet, needle jet, starter jet, pilot air jet. And they have them all numbered on the sides. I wouldn't recommend trying to rebuild a carburetor or picking up a rebuild kit such as this one without one of these manuals. It's important that you just replace all the pieces that you can. You take this out here. That's one of the jets right here. You'll take it out with a screwdriver, and you need a small wrench. Put it right on here. You can see the flats. You put it on right here. You back this out. This comes out. That'll pop right out. You should be able to just lift that right out like this. You'll see the little O-ring on it. That O-ring has to be changed out. This needs to be screwed out. This needs to come out. This end here comes off, and you'll see that it has a small, there's a diaphragm in here. And that'll be this piece right here, this cap, is this piece right up here in the diagram. And you can see it all comes together. This is rubber. This moves up and down like a gate, and you could see it right in here. We'll take all the jets out, replace them. Take these jets out, replace them. Look for any O-rings, and then go through the parts manual to make sure I didn't miss anything. And that'll be about it. Thanks for watching.